Is Morocco safe for travelers in 2025? That's the question we're going to explore today. And the answer, as always, is more nuanced than a simple yes or no. Morocco is a country of dazzling contrasts. Ancient cities and modern infrastructure, vast deserts and bustling souks, deep traditions and youthful energy. But like anywhere in the world, the real safety picture isn't painted on a postcard. It's built from real-world experiences, geopolitical context, and an honest look at what travelers need to know. I'm Stephen with the Travel Safety Network. After spending more than 25 years traveling the world professionally in the field of industrial safety and risk management, I've shifted my focus to travel safety. And let me tell you, when you view the world through the lens of risk, you start to see travel in a very different way. So let's talk about Morocco. If you've been scrolling through Instagram lately, you've probably seen someone riding a camel into the sunset, shopping for hand-woven rugs in the Medina of Marrakech, or sipping mint tea with a rooftop view of the Atlas Mountains. Morocco's appeal is undeniable. It's exotic, it's accessible, and it offers a feeling of immersion that's hard to replicate in more sanitized travel destinations. But that immersive experience also comes with layers of complexity. Morocco sits on the northwest shoulder of Africa, separated from Europe by only 13 kilometers at the Strait of Gibraltar, but very much a part of the African and Arab world. It shares borders with Algeria and Western Sahara, and it's positioned just across the sea from Spain. That location is geopolitically sensitive, to say the least. When we talk about North Africa, we're also talking about a region that's seen its fair share of instability in recent decades. Civil wars, revolutions, militant insurgencies, and migration crises. While Morocco has largely avoided the worst of the unrest seen in neighboring Libya or Tunisia, it hasn't been entirely untouched. The country has experienced isolated terror incidents in the past, and like many nations, it remains vigilant about the threat of extremism. Right now, government travel advisories from the US State Department, Global Affairs Canada, the UK's FCDO, and Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs all advise taking standard safety precautions throughout most of Morocco. Some specifically urge increased caution in border regions near Western Sahara, where political tensions occasionally flare. It's not a conflict zone, but it's also not an area for careless exploration. So what's the experience like on the ground for most tourists? For the vast majority of visitors, Morocco is safe, fascinating, and welcoming. But it's also not a place where you can just let your guard down entirely, especially in urban areas. Let's start with street safety. Morocco is known for its crowded medinas, narrow alleys, and vibrant marketplaces, and these are often the very places where petty crime is most likely to occur. Pickpocketing is common in popular tourist zones like Marrakech, Fes, and Casablanca. Bag snatching, phone theft, and scams targeting visitors do happen. Sometimes these are minor annoyances. Other times they can derail an entire trip. One common scam involves unofficial guides offering to help you find your hotel or navigate the market. These individuals may demand payment or lead you on a wild goose chase. Others pose as helpful strangers, but operate as part of a distraction team working with pickpockets. It's worth remembering that while many Moroccans are genuinely hospitable, some see tourists as a business opportunity, and not always in the way you'd hope. Then there's the issue of traffic and transportation. Morocco's roads can be chaotic, especially in cities. Lane discipline is more of a suggestion than a rule, and mopeds, donkeys, bicycles, and pedestrians all share the same space. Taxis are plentiful, but not always metered, and tourists are sometimes quoted inflated prices. Negotiate fares in advance when possible, or use official grand taxis for intercity travel. If you're planning to rent a car, know that rural roads can be poorly marked, and night driving is strongly discouraged. Public transportation is improving in Morocco, especially with the introduction of the high-speed Al Borak train between Tangier and Casablanca. But in rural or remote areas, options may be limited, and schedules can be inconsistent. Don't expect the same infrastructure or predictability you'd find in Europe or North America. Now let's talk about health and hygiene. Tap water in Morocco is generally not considered safe to drink for travelers. Bottled water is widely available and inexpensive, and it's a smart choice throughout your trip. Be cautious with salads, fresh fruit that isn't peeled, and street food. especially in the hotter months when foodborne illness becomes more common. Stomach issues are one of the most frequent complaints from tourists visiting Morocco, and even higher-end hotels are not immune to occasional outbreaks. Healthcare is another consideration. Major cities like Rabat, Casablanca, and Marrakech have reasonably good private clinics, and there are pharmacies almost everywhere. But rural areas are a different story, and emergency medical care may be hours away. Travel insurance that includes emergency evacuation is strongly advised, particularly if you plan to do outdoor adventure activities in the mountains or desert. Socially, Morocco is a deeply religious and conservative country. Islam influences every aspect of daily life, from dress codes to dining customs. Travelers should dress modestly, especially women. Shorts, tank tops, and revealing clothing will draw attention, and not always the kind you want. Public displays of affection are frowned upon, and during Ramadan, it's respectful to avoid eating, drinking, or smoking in public during daylight hours. LGBTQ+ travelers should exercise discretion. While same-sex relationships are technically criminalized in Morocco, enforcement is inconsistent. That said, public expressions of non-heteronormative affection can attract unwanted attention, or worse, especially in rural or conservative communities. Solo female travelers should be prepared for a higher degree of attention, including catcalling or unwanted advances. While this behavior is usually more annoying than dangerous, it can be persistent and uncomfortable. Traveling in pairs or groups, booking reputable accommodations, and avoiding isolated areas after dark can help mitigate risk. Let's zoom in a bit on the regional differences. Cities like Marrakech and Fez are steeped in history and culture, but also come with a high density of people, vendors, and opportunists. Coastal towns like Essaouira tend to have a more laid-back vibe, while the Atlas Mountains and Sahara region offer stunning natural beauty, but also more logistical challenges. Casablanca, despite being Morocco's largest city, is often described by travelers as more industrial and less picturesque. Crime here can be more opportunistic, especially in markets and train stations. Tangier has a reputation for being a bit rough around the edges, particularly in the old port district, though recent redevelopment has improved some areas. On the other end of the spectrum, destinations like Chefchaouen, the Blue City, are often described as charming and safe, but don't let your guard down completely. Even tranquil towns have their share of scams and pickpockets. So is Morocco safe for travelers in 2025? The answer depends on your expectations, your preparation, and your willingness to adapt. Morocco isn't dangerous in the way that war zones or high-risk countries are, but it is unpredictable at times, and it rewards the traveler who approaches with cultural sensitivity, awareness, and common sense. Morocco is also in the midst of a tourism boom, with the government investing heavily in infrastructure and promotion. That means more services for travelers, but also more crowds, higher prices, and a more transactional vibe in some areas. Over-tourism is becoming a real issue in places like Marrakech and Chefchaouen, with rising complaints about the impact on local life, and with that growth has come a noticeable increase in minor crimes of opportunity. There's also the shadow of geopolitics. While Morocco enjoys relative stability internally, its neighborhood remains volatile. Issues in nearby countries or terrorist events in Europe can quickly shift perceptions and policy. Stay current with travel advisories from your government. As of now, the US Department of State, Global Affairs Canada, the UK's FCDO, and Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs all advise standard precautions but urge travelers to avoid the Western Sahara border region. And here's a final thought. While Morocco may present some risks, it also offers immense rewards for those who travel mindfully. The warmth of the people, the depth of the culture, the richness of the landscapes, it's a destination that stays with you. And for those who take the time to understand its rhythms, Morocco reveals itself not just as safe, but as transformational. Stick around, because at the end of this video, we're going to share a travel safety tool that many travelers overlook. Something simple, free, and potentially trip-saving. If you've ever found yourself in a tricky situation abroad, you'll want to know about this. And if you've found value in this video, I'd invite you to subscribe to the Travel Safety Network, where we break down the real risks and realities of global travel, one destination at a time. Share this with anyone thinking of heading to Morocco, and let's make safety part of the journey. Until next time, I'm Stephen. Thanks for watching, see the world, and stay safe.